Who was the aggressor in the First Crusade? At first, the answer seems obvious. Western European Christendom gathered its forces and marched east to conquer Jerusalem. Yet another example of Western imperialism. At least that's what the BBC and Al Jazeera would have us believe. However, even American presidents differ greatly on the causes for the Crusades. President Bill Clinton, that paragon of honesty and virtue, apologised on behalf of Western Europeans for the Crusades. How times have changed. President Roosevelt stated that there are such social values today in Europe, America, and Australia only because during those 1,000 years the Christians of Europe possessed the warlike power to do what the Christians of Asia and Africa had failed to do, that is, to beat back the Muslim invaders. Dr. Bill Warner plotted the battles fought between the Islamic caliphates and Christendom. He stated that he was happy for people to use his work in their videos, so I have. The Crusades didn't just happen when evil Europeans eyed Jerusalem with envious lust. The West wasn't suddenly consumed with a wish to attack the peaceful caliphates and emirates of the Middle East. In the centuries before the Crusades, the Christians of Syria, Palestine, Egypt, North Africa, and large areas of Asia Minor had been conquered and subjugated. Spain had all but fallen, and an army of 80,000 Arabs and Berbers were only finally defeated near Troyes in France. Meanwhile, slave raids from North Africa caused the coastline of the European Mediterranean to be largely depopulated. Saracens sacked Rome twice. The walls around the Vatican ensured that it was spared. Earlier in the 11th century, the Normans defeated the Saracens that had dominated southern Italy and Sicily. Indeed, a pope himself had to lead an army against invading Moors. The holy war between Islam and Christianity had been waging for many years before Pope Urban called the First Crusade. I am not a disinterested observer. The Crusaders are part of my historical inheritance. Nonetheless, I hope I have not shied away from the faults of my medieval ancestors. They were ruthless killers and even cannibals when forced to by extreme necessity. In my story, Roger describes Gadri as a bastard. Gwyn replies that Gadri was one of our bastards. The Crusaders were a bloodthirsty lot. If you stood in their path, they would kill you without a second thought. They offered mercy to those who surrendered, but to cities that didn't, they followed the custom of the time and offered only death. They were not people who tolerated those who played games. They fought to win. I'm of their blood. However, I was brought up in a very different time, and I have a different morality. Still, those Crusaders are part of me. And if you're English, or French, or for that matter Western European, then those Crusaders are part of you, too. It's my contention that most of the Crusaders who marched east in the year 1096 were fanatical, but far from monsters. They were motivated mostly by piety and a wish to defend their culture and their faith. Many Crusaders sought redemption, which at least made them reflective people. Their victory over heat, cold, rain, storm, hunger, plague, and war placed them amongst the hardest, most motivated warriors in history. I'm an author of historical fiction and have just completed the first draft of a book set in the First Crusade. Why not subscribe as I download extracts from Penance of the Sword? It will be available on Amazon as soon as it's copy edited.